Hello. We are in the shop, the fur shed, the trap house, whatever you want to call it. Jules is in town today with Tilly. It was her grandpa's birthday yesterday, I believe. I am having English breakfast tea because we are out of coffee and I have no money. Just paid the mortgage. So, anywho, I had a good Dove opener the other day with the boys. That was a good time. 7 Dove breasts are in this freezer behind me. But that is the only game meat in my freezer. The other freezer has fur in it, a big beaver. But getting mentally prepared for trapping season. You know, something I've been putting off is a lot of my traps probably need some new chain or maintenance. I got a lot of like antique traps that I ran a little bit last year, but I should probably do something with them. And then I don't know about waxing or not. I'm in pretty dry area out where I'm at. But I think for overall protection, it's good to wax. I may wax this year just for the practice or whatever. I know a lot of people don't run wax, but ton of coyotes where I'm at, and not that having a ton of them makes them more difficult to catch, but just in general, coyotes are more difficult to catch. There's no money in coyotes. I'll probably make some blankets, which will be cool. I'm gonna see if I can make some money on the coons, and I'd like to catch a few bobcats this year. Skunks, that'll be a big one for me this year. There's a ton of skunks out here. So glands is gonna be something that I'm doing more of, and probably I'll see if I can't find a buyer. But with all my fur and my glands, I'll probably take some off the top for myself. You know, if there's a pretty gray fox, I don't have a gray fox, I'll probably keep that. Any new critter, I hate to say that about a bobcat. If I have a really nice bobcat, I'd like to keep him, obviously, but probably I'll have to keep the flat ones and sell the nice ones because I need the money. But we'll see how it goes. I got to get some stretchers, some more stretchers, maybe some boards. I got wire stretchers, and they do okay for me. I'm all right with them. I got to get some different sizes, though. My big coons are like otters. They don't go real well on these little muskrat stretchers. But, you know, my skunks do good on them, and my little coon do good on them. But, yeah. Other than that, I'm probably going to invest in some cable and make some snares and some drowners. Just because of how I got my one beaver spot set up. I have one beaver spot And last year, or it was 2 years ago, when I first trapped my first beaver, I spooked them all after the first catch, and they never used that spot again. I had to catch them other spots, but they really liked coming over the crossover. Well, I put a conibear right at the mouth of it, and they bit him up. It was a female, I think, but you know, they figured out she was dead, obviously, and then they got wise to me. Texas cattle country, they've really been not so bad, not as bad as like July. It was pretty bad. June, July. Anywho, yeah, I don't have any private access close to where I'm at. I'm hunting and trapping on public. And then U.S. Forest Service, LBJ Grasslands, and Alvord, or Alvoid, as some of the locals will say. Texas. But, yeah, anyway, like I was saying about my beavers, I plan on drowning them, and they may still get wise to me, but, you know, the other option is to snare them on long cable and keep them alive, which I'm down for. I just don't want them tearing up the spot. But they're going to tear it up. It is what it is. But that's my two options. And either way, I need some cable. And I'm not going to buy pre-made setups anymore because it's one and done. And I need all the parts off of my old snares. And the swivels and the locks, all that stuff is reusable. I gotta get that stuff. Anyway, probably just gonna keep beaver trapping to October and March. And then in the prime season, I'm gonna try and catch as many cats as I can. Obviously, I'll catch a ton of coyotes just because it's, for every cat set, I'll probably put out a coyote set just because it's going to be more, I'm going to catch more coyotes. You know, I've never caught a cat. I've caught house cats, you know, domestic cats. But, yeah, I know how to make a cat set. And I know that it's going to be, I'll probably catch some foxes, some grays out here in my cat sets. I may catch some coyotes in my cat sets, but I'll probably just set up some cat sets and some dog sets. And then I need a ton of DPs. I need like, you know, at least 24 DPs. I have half a dozen now, and 30 DPs would be really nice just to, you know, densely deck down an area. The coons, the skunks, the possums, they're all so thick, man. They're all so thick, and it's easy pickings with those DPs. You got to keep them clean. There's been a lot of rain, but, you know, I'm on top of everything, so... yeah, mostly big irons. I got some 11s, but I don't really know what I'm going to do with my 11s this year. I may do some little coon stuff with them. Maybe some fox trapping. I don't know, man. I've never really seen anybody catching fox with 11s. I've tried it, and I get dug out by coons, I think. Every time. Or coyotes. Coyotes will like turn them over and Of course, it's in the cold of the season, and I'm just now getting familiar with these leg holds or the foot holds or the whatever you call it, big irons, double long springs. I only run double long springs. I do not have any coil spring traps. I have, probably over 30 double long spring traps and bigs and littles. Some antique Blake and Lamb Victor stuff, Bridger, and then obviously the Duke number 11s, like I said. Everything is a double long spring because that's what I got started doing, running little 11s, and I'm familiar with that, and I just like it. I like the old-timey of it. I think the catch is better. I've had success with them, and I don't know, I'd never really played with a coil spring trap, but I think the levers are just kind of, I don't know. The look of it is just kind of, I don't know. Plus, they probably bed better. I hear they bed better. The number 4s or the number 11s or whatever double long springs you got. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Gonna try and make a buck this year for the first time selling fur. I may do some private sales or whatever to some friends. But I need to market for some of that stuff. Now, I have some okay things now, but after you start hammering them a little bit, you'll get some dandies. And then if I have plenty of dandies to sell, then maybe we can get something going. But it's all just fun for me, man. I'm just trying to make some money back that I'm gonna burn anyway. It is so addicting, the best activity that I've ever found, trapping. It's so cool, so sweet. Just the whole shebang, skinning critters, working with the hides. It's really fulfilling stuff. Probably going to catch some bobcats this year. I imagine 2 that I haven't caught that I'm probably going to catch this year is bobcats and grays, which will be really cool. I'm jacked up for that. I'm interested to see about some of the fur, like a beaver or a coon. I'll take coons, particularly are fatty and you got to scrape all that fat off of them. Well, on those dogs, I feel like you got to be a lot more careful, and you really hardly can scrape them. And some people may not scrape them. But yeah, there's really not much to scraping them. And I don't know if you do. I got to look up some more of that. I got to look up on cats, a similar thing, because I know they're thin-skinned like dogs. And those thin-skinned critters, foxes, cats, I'm excited to work with them, but I'm also a little worried because they're just so thin-skinned. I like working with coons and skunks and beavers for that reason, that they forgive you. And, I'm pretty tough on them. And so then, they'll be all right. Scraping them, I hardly ever can knock a hole in a coon. You got to be gentle on the tail, obviously, but I'm not an expert. I've done a little bit. I know a lot of people have not done anything, but I do wish that I knew more people that did more trapping or did more of this personally. You know, I went to the Texas Trappers and Fur Hunters Association rendezvous in Childress and met some folks up there, but a lot of outer staters, older fellows, and I should have stuck around longer and met some more folks. It would have been good for me to get more connections in the area about stuff like this. But you know, when I go to selling fur, I think that'll be a opportunity for that. And you know, the whole thing is just to be more self-sustainable and have fun. It's fun. But yeah, to be self-sustainable, to feel like you're living off the land, that you're going to be all right. And then there's really abundance out there. There's such abundance out there, but we're paving away all this abundance, and all it takes is to drive a little bit out of town and get somewhere where you can do these types of things. And it's so important to be able to do these types of things, and to homestead and to garden and you know, all those things. Home butcher, that's something that we're going to do more of this year that I wasn't really interested in, that I didn't have any, you know, you kill a deer and you just took it to the processor. Half the time you didn't even skin him. I mean, you'd gut him, you'd clean him like that, but you would never. The only time I ever skinned him was when I was way down south and we were basically in the middle of nowhere. But most of the time you drive an hour or two into town and drop off your deer. And it wasn't until I started skinning everything for the hide that I thought, well, you know, it's really not that difficult. I mean, bigger animals do take longer, but it's not that hard. And then just having a relatively clean space to work, so that way you can then go on to processing your meat however you can. You know, you may not have everything you need. I've got some things, and I may invest in more things, but just cutting cuts off of and then bagging it all up and practicing that, like getting more familiar with those processes, you know, butchering and what cut is what, where this is and that is. And I really appreciate everybody online for sharing all this information that, you know, my dad talks about trapping a coon and skinning it, and he didn't know much. His dad didn't know anything about any of that stuff, and so he had a hide and he didn't scrape it, I believe is how it went. I mean, he just didn't dry it properly. He didn't scrape it, or something happened and it just went to stinking and rotten and was no good. And he said, you know, the best I could have done is maybe found a book or something. And that's what we had back then. And we are so blessed to have the internet in that respect, you know. And then even back then, people were blessed to have libraries where you could access information. It was a blessing that some folks had access to that type of information. And even then, even though we have such a wealth of flowing internet knowledge, some people are still, rightfully so, secretive about some of their methods because it's worth money and things. And so I understand all that. I understand, you know, the way the world works. But there's more than enough out there for me to be, everybody's so generous, and I'm thrilled with the knowledge that I've gained, and just so blessed to be able to participate in some of these activities that people all around the world would never be able to do. Even just shooting guns, and you know, blessed to be an American, blessed to be a Texan, blessed to be a free thinking child of God. And yeah, I'm excited for this season. We're going to crank it up. I appreciate all you guys tuning in to watch. Feel free to comment if there's anything you want to see. Feel free to let me know what you think. And we'll see you guys out on the line.